All right, local swell tracker Saturday the 22nd, hindcasting now. We've had a lot of north-northwest swell and north and a lot of winds thanks to a big high pressure here going counterclockwise. Today it's about 1030 millibars. It's whipping up trades to gales. We've had fetches moving within the jet stream across the North Pack, and this guy right here is the fetch that brought us up to 4 feet earlier in the week. Starting in the animations, you can see that thing kind of merges into a big center here up by Kodiak Island, up near the Gulf, and spinning down some sideband swell dispersion, basically the pebble in the pond phenomenon. And from this guy right here, you can see most of the energy missing us, but we still have Laniakea up to 3 or 4 feet from this scenario here, and that's going to be, holding into Sunday. And we got a better ground swell coming up here shortly, and I'll show you that. But I wanted to get to the last week. The cause of it is high pressures and these tracking lows here, the fetch of which is the most dominant last Wednesday, midweek, as you can see here. Okay, see, these are the current surface winds here, thanks to storm surfs. And here we go. Here's the spinner up here. It's moved off the Kuril Islands. It's tracking, well, it was going east there for a while, and then it's going to be heading up into the western Aleutians. I'll show you here right now. You can see it kind of dissipating. We get some complex stormy pattern here on Monday. And let me go back here, just show you some of these, the winds upstream about 600 miles upwind of us. That's why the periods of the trade wind swell have gone up to from 8 to 9 seconds, and that does make a difference. That'll add on an extra foot to that typical 3-foot chop that we see at Mankapu'u. And you can see these winds whipping up here, and they are upstream, all thanks to that big high pressure I was talking about in the last animation. And this low pressure will be weakening a bit Monday, but it's still going to be breezy into next week, but not gale level like it is here Saturday and Sunday. Well, there's some strong gusts and wind warnings for the summits of the Big Island, etc. So continue on here with the surface winds. That guy fades up into the western Aleutians, like I said. Then it gets some strange storminess. Some stuff comes down here off the coast. We won't be seeing any of that, but it does get pretty strong here for Monday. We'll be pushing us up Friday and Saturday, and to, hopefully about 6 feet from that guy. But we got some more storming to see. It's all, none of this is tracking towards us. They're all sending a lot of their energy off to our northeast. But from this guy right here, models on Thursday the 27th, that'll pump us up hopefully to 6 feet on Monday, Halloween, from this guy right here. And I'll go ahead and finish the animations. You can see that zonal or west to east track, not really optimal. But hey, the swells, they keep coming. Here's the next one in line here towards the end of the month. They'll be bringing us up hopefully after Halloween. We'll wait and see. We were just looking at surface winds, and here's the swell they produce out there in the lineup. Some 25-foot seas here. And this guy that came off the Kurils, as I said, with that easterly track, and then it moves up. But it does spread out. Now that swell, I kind of got ahead of myself on the surface winds there, but now these models, this is the Tuesday culprit. And there are some powerful winds in here up to 45, 55 knots, and again, producing those long periods. We're going to see some 18-second forerunners Monday evening. It'll probably be about 3 feet 18 seconds on the continued forerunners Tuesday morning. Still enough for sunset to hit about 6 feet, and then probably peaking 5 to 7 mostly. And maybe sunset will see a couple 8-footers from this guy right here. So it's a nice solid ground swell, and winds won't be as bad, or as windy rather, as they are this weekend. So things are going to be looking good here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Then we look at some strange storminess happening, but all super, super weak. Again, that is the Saturday. And by the looks of this versus the surface winds, it doesn't look like it's going to get 6 feet. It's too far away. And none of these systems are getting very close to us. And they're getting bounced up in above the Aleutians thanks to this big blue area or high pressure. And we need that to mellow out a little bit. There comes another system way up there. Hopefully that'll be bumping us up on Halloween. And again, looking at these, the models may be running a bit hot. In other words, overcalling that 6-foot claim I mentioned. Going down under, we have a little bit of a Tasman Sea source here for the weekend, and you'll have to go out about what the models are claiming now is just tiny little a swell for say maybe Halloween, or more likely Tuesday the 1st of November. Just a half a foot from this guy at 14 seconds. So I just wanted to point out that Fiji's going to be good. But for us, we're going to get cheese grated by the South Pac Islands. And after that, let me just show you, there's just hardly any wind. Way too many blues out into our zone for swell production. And any storms are way down there by the Ross Ice Shelf and sending anything, if anything, off to the Americas. So we're not looking good for town here, but except for this weekend. Let me show you why. Last Monday, the 17th, we had this fetch right here, about 600-700 miles off of New Zealand, and it kind of came together pretty good. As it tracked east, the fetch kept spinning and got underneath their French Polynesia and got pretty close up to us. A lot of it's down here, like 4,500 miles away, the typical south-southwest swell. The swell for this coming, more like, well, it'll fill in with 16-second forerunners on Monday, the 24th, and then peak probably, hopefully, 3 feet on Tuesday. And due to the proximity, the winds aren't strong, but we definitely see enough proximity to us, 1,000 miles closer than is typical. And so, yeah, we're going to go ahead and claim a few spots hitting head high on this guy right here. So, yeah, town's not done. All right, that jet stream, it's, again, getting bounced. You can see how it gets split up here, all thanks to that high pressure. And then in the long haul right here, in about 6-7 days, it starts to elongate, actually getting out past the deadline to about 170 west, which is, only about 900 miles northwest of us. And so that's good news. But for now, we'll have to take what we have, and hopefully things will, looks like they're consolidating. And again, the jet stream is about 30,000 feet up. It is these large air currents that help in the production of surface lows. And then once they get created, once they're spawned, the jet actually will steer them. That's why we like the jet low and moving towards us, so it brings the storms closer to us. Less travel time, less swell decay equals bigger surf. Down under, you can see that mostly blues, super weak, very light colors, just nothing going on really down under, except for that one little source that's gone here currently, that was in the Tasman Sea, and even that is, I don't even know why I brought it up. The hand-drawn surface charts, and right there in front of you, we're down here at about 20 north, 160 west, and there's that big spinner, about 1028. It's been up to 1032 millibars. Anyway, super strong. And weakening a little bit for next week, as I was saying. There's that low that'll bringing us up some 7-foot waves, 2.5 times overhead for Tuesday afternoon at the swell's peak. They'll be double overhead for the morning hour, and maybe not at dawn, but it's common. So there is the scenario here in the North Pac, all hand drawn for your viewing pleasure. And you can see there's quite a bit of broken cloud cover, but it's still beautiful. Still got to pack that sunblock and reapply. There's the intertropical convergence zone down there that's just staying put, where the trade winds from the North Pac meet the trade winds from the South Pac. And we see a lot of thunderstorms down there, and they just stay put in this intertropical convergence zone. Drilling down a little bit further here, you can see a little bit of that east to northeast tilt to those winds, and boy, those clouds moving a little quicker than we typically see. And it is bringing some isolated showers, spilling occasionally over leeward sections, but most of it's confined to the windward Mauka areas as those winds bounce the warmer ocean air up into the cooler atmosphere, creating some rain, especially for the windward side, which is why it's so beautiful there. As far as the upper atmosphere, the water vapor loop showing some fairly good stability, especially to our windward or north side. Intertropical convergence showing some thunderstorms down there. Some of it is being brought up with some cirrus clouds here, especially for the Big Island. And we're about 50-50 stable atmosphere. The water vapor loops are showing, again, quite a bit of rain. Now, these are just the instruments shown here southeast of the Big Island. That is not rain. That's not a rain shower or nothing. But, again, you see most of the rain coming in from the windward side, remaining confined to that area. But it is spilling over occasionally. Taking a look at the global wind map, you can see that big spinner and the trade wind swells here getting up to 4, maybe 5 feet today. Here comes that counterclockwise spinning low for the waves on Tuesday. Down under that little Tasman Sea swell from a week from now, if anything makes it up our way. We'll finish up with the quick scat data showing you the wind, the actual winds right here to our northeast. That was the culprit for our north-northwest swells, and our especially the ones that we're seeing today. Highs are going to be about 87, lows about 75. cooling off a little bit here towards Tuesday, Wednesday. And that is a wrap. I'll be back next weekend right here with your local swell tracker. Thanks for checking it out. Aloha.